Since it was founded in 2019, AEW has presented itself as an alternative to WWE, so it would stand to reason that they do some things differently. For decades, it was well known that WWE's performers worked exclusively for WWE. Outside of some crossover with ECW in the late 1990s and Evolve in the 2010s, WWE was pretty much a closed shop throughout the Vince McMahon era. Notably, WWE ended up owning both ECW and Evolve. From the start, AEW has kept things a whole lot looser, bringing in performers from other promotions while allowing its own contracted talent to perform elsewhere too. Take, for example, Jon Moxley, who is the current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He's made numerous sojourns to New Japan Pro Wrestling, including a run in the G1 Climax tournament.
As long as I'm wrestling, I'll still wrestle in Japan.
Okay.
And that's another cool thing about AEW is that guys can kind of do other stuff.
Moxley has also appeared at Game Changer Wrestling events in the United States, holding that promotion's world title for over a year in 2021 and 2022. He doesn't perform there anymore, though. A contract extension with AEW no longer allows him to wrestle for GCW. Starting in 2022, AEW even started hosting a yearly crossover pay-per-view with New Japan, Forbidden Door. AEW has also engaged in wrestler exchanges with TNA, the Mexican promotions AAA and CMLL, and most recently World Wonder Ring Stardom. All that said, WWE does seem to be cracking its own forbidden door ever so slightly. Then, TNA Knockouts champion Mickie James brought her title to the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble. Former Knockouts champ Jordynne Grace appeared in the 2024 Rumble and on a recent NXT. The biggest surprise, though, was that WWE star Shayna Baszler was allowed to wrestle Masha Slamovich at the 2024 GCW Bloodsport event during WrestleMania weekend. With very few exceptions, if you've seen someone bleeding on WWE TV in the last 15 years or so, it was an accident. The act of blading, purposefully cutting oneself with a hidden razor blade to draw blood, was banned from the company in 2008 following a spot where Shawn Michaels cut himself too deeply in a match against Chris Jericho. Soon after, WWE transitioned its programming to a TV PG rating, which meant the intentional blood had to go. AEW's TV output has always been rated TV-14, and there's rarely a show where somebody doesn't bleed. It was so prevalent in the promotion's early days that then WWE chairman Vince McMahon commented on the blood and guts on AEW's shows, leading to the creation of the AEW Blood and Guts match, a hardcore take on the classic War Games match. To give just a few examples of AEW wrestlers bleeding on recent TV shows, Orange Cassidy bled in a segment with Don Callis and Trent Beretta on the May 30th, 2024 Dynamite. Will Ospreay's face was cut on the Go Home episode of Dynamite before Double or Nothing at the hands of AEW International Champion Roderick Strong. The week before, AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland's face was cut open with glass, and Christian Cage wiped the blood on a photo of Swerve and his family. And hey, remember when Hangman Page drank Swerve's blood at Full Gear in 2023?
I was like, this is a lot of blood. This is an awful lot of blood.
Once again, WWE's stance does seem to be evolving on this. In the post-Vince era, Cody Rhodes, a prolific bleeder during his time in AEW, got the proverbial Crimson Mask on Raw at the hands of The Rock ahead of their tag team match at WrestleMania 40. WWE let some pretty provocative language fly back during the Attitude Era, but ever since things have toned down pretty considerably. Ahead of WrestleMania 40, there were reports that WWE top brass sent out an internal memo to talent that they should not curse, not even on social media. This was despite The Rock cussing up a storm in promos, both on TV and social media.
This is the level of absurdity and bull that The Rock has got to deal with.
WWE has also been known for its banned terms for years, with former chairman Vince McMahon despising the term wrestler, instead referring to talents as superstars and fans as the WWE Universe. AEW clearly doesn't have any issue with the term wrestler or fans, and is more lenient when it comes to cursing, too. All you have to do is watch MJF's promo from Double or Nothing 2024, which even included an unbleeped F-bomb to see that. Some curse words are bleeped on Dynamite and Collision when they air on TBS and TNT, though. It's been reported that the network's parent company, Warner Bros. Discovery, has become less tolerant of the profanity, and it does seem as though AEW has toned the cursing down somewhat. But colorful language still pops up on Dynamite. After years of asking, Chuck Taylor even recently got to say the S-word on TBS. A few very rare talents like AJ Styles and Jade Cargill get to keep the names they've always been known by when they go to WWE. But most aren't that lucky. Prince Devitt became Finn Balor, Kenta was renamed Hideo Itami, Bea Priestley is now Blair Davenport, and the list goes on and on. WWE does this so it can trademark and thus own the new name. Keeping in line with their looser approach to crossing over with other promotions, AEW doesn't bother with all that. Most wrestlers who come in from anywhere but WWE arrive using the name they always had. The exception is when someone comes in from WWE with a trademarked moniker. Rusev had to switch to his real first name, Miro. The man known as Tommy End on the Indies chose to keep his WWE last name Black, but changed the first name from Alistair to Malachi. Edge started using his real name Adam Copeland, but kept his Rated R Superstar nickname, which isn't trademarked.
You can't trademark it because the Motion Picture Association owns it.
Even Cody Rhodes had to go by just Cody for a while. AEW has filed for many trademarks over the years, but they are mostly for factions, titles of pay-per-views, or match types rather than characters. The only place you'll find an officially licensed LA Knight or Rhea Ripley t-shirt right now is on WWE's website or at a WWE event. Not so for AEW and its stars. Yes, AEW has its own online shop and sells merchandise at events, but many AEW wrestlers sell merch on the side, on websites such as Pro Wrestling Tees. AEW actually partners with Pro Wrestling Tees for its merchandise, but it's not an exclusive deal. The site sells merch from lots of other independent pro wrestlers who aren't affiliated with AEW. Most of the profits from Pro Wrestling Tees sales go to the wrestlers themselves. Some AEW stars have branched out into other merchandising opportunities too. For example, Danhausen's name and image are on a line of coffee sold by Rootless Coffee Company.
Continue making Danhausen the best t-shirt salesman and coffee salesman and whatever the hell else we do.
In WWE, talent receives a cut of their merchandise sales via royalties. WWE outlines this policy explicitly on their corporate website, stating, "We own the rights of substantially all of our characters and exclusively license the rights we do not own through agreements with our superstars." The one exception, WWE's Sami Zayn did sell some t-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees to benefit his charity, Sammy for Syria.